The Jews are indigenous to Israel, but the claim's made the Canaanites were there first, so the Jews can't be indigenous. But Canaan was not a nation. Some groups in the land were African. The Canaanites, for example, lived in independent city-states with huge walls built to defend them from each other. The Perizzites lived in villages to the north, overlapping the land of the walled Canaanite city-states. The Hivites lived in both temporary dwellings to the north as well as 4 city-states to the south. Other groups there were European, such as the Hittites, who lived in a number of city-states across the land. The Philistines were Greek invaders from Crete, who had 5 colonial settlements on the south coast. Other groups were Middle Eastern. There were the Phoenicians to the far north, then the Amorites who had come from the east, who were semi-nomadic, meaning that for part of the year they lived in walled cities, but for the majority of the year, most of them would wander across uninhabited land, grazing their cattle. And the Amalekites were completely nomadic, and they lived mostly wandering about in the south of the land, but they would cross over into other territory to attack and plunder. So this map shows that the land of Canaan was largely uninhabited. But there's one more level of complexity to all of this. The whole land was controlled by the Egyptian Empire, who had no interest in colonization, but the pharaohs would regularly invade to strip the land of resources. Therefore, when the Israelites invaded, Canaan was not a nation state. It was a wild frontier inhabited by a hopeless confusion of cultures, none native to the region, who lived in city-states, in villages, colonial settlements, as nomads, raiders and cattle thieves, all scattered across huge swathes of uninhabited land. The Jews were the first people to establish a permanent nation state in the region and have continuously lived there ever since. So they are the indigenous people of the land. Besides all of which, the Jews arrived in the 15th century BC. The Arabs invaded from Arabia in 636 AD, more than 2,000 years later. So there is no Arab indigenous part of the land. It is the Jews who are indigenous to Israel.